Do we have sound now? That is so annoying. That is incredibly annoying, and I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know what happened. I went live on YouTube Direct for personal reasons, and it worked fine in test. So weird. I'm so sorry. Oh. I have no lighting because my light fell, but it is what it is. Let me just put a quick post out for that for you guys. And let me just end this old stream here. Sorry about all of this. You guys know I'm usually much better on this. End the stream. Post the new. Unbelievable. Had lots of people too. I was catching up with people. Guys, that was super annoying. Thank you all for coming back. I'm so sorry. I don't know what that was all about. I'm really sorry. Oh, hello, F11 bar 84. Thank you. You can hear typing too. Hi, Diane. How are you? Hello, Marja. Hello, Rory. Hello, Disco. Sorry, Disco. I wasn't trying to actually ignore you, but I can't answer the FaceTime while I'm online. I didn't know what the conversation was going to be. But as soon as I saw you pop up, that's why I declined it, because I was like, oh, something's wrong. Hello, Richard. Hello, Loopy Lou Harris. Welcome. Nicola, welcome. Glad to have you. Manny, glad to have you guys. So sorry again. We're going to start all the way over. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Piper. Hello, Collective West. Thank you for being here. Oh, okay. We're going to start over. I was talking about something extremely serious as well. Okay. Just my apologies once again, and we are going to move on. Okay. So welcome to The Next Show Will Be Better. It's a Hickson Diaries live stream podcast where we basically just do an open live chat about my life here in the UK as an American, culture shocks, British history, learning about stuff that's happening all throughout the world. We talk about, really. No holds bars, my diary. So whatever you want to talk about is what we talk about. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Sorry again about the tech issues for the first, 20 or so minutes. Like the stream if you can. Definitely share it. Definitely share it. Let people know we can actually have sound and stuff. And also there's been some issues with notifications lately on YouTube. So if you could share it so people know we're live and there's sound, that'll be great. Okay. All right. I'm going to start with, that's what just on a personal note, that's what I get for changing. I was trying to consolidate so I didn't use as many software programs for the channel, but that's what I get. So just stick with what you know. Just stick with what you know. Okay. So I do want to do an opening. It'll only be a couple of minutes, but I do feel the need compelled to speak about this. I don't know if you could tell by the visuals, but I was very passionate. There's a debate going on right now in the UK, and I think it's a really important one and one we need to pay lots of attention to, especially those who can vote and those who can put pressure on their MPs. It's about Palantir and the NHS. So anyone who knows this channel knows that I'm a huge proponent of the NHS and of national healthcare service, like national healthcare in general. We don't really have anything like that in the US, and I've seen there's tens of thousands of people die every day because they don't have access to medical care. Children die, elderly, and people decide between food and medication. I've seen patients with cancer die or lose everything just to pay for treatment. So I feel very, very strongly about national health care. I think it is something that every government should provide its citizens, and I personally have no problem paying for it. I pay into it, and I am more than happy to. And if you guys want to question that, you think that I'm just like posturing or anything like that, you can go and look at my channel. There's lots of receipts on there. I talk about the NHS and I praise it almost all the time. That's not to discount those of you that have had, a negative experience, because I know that does happen, but overall it does more good than bad. And I think it should be protected. In my eyes, it is the jewel of the UK and it should be protected at all costs, in my opinion. Having said that, I think you need to know a little bit more about Palantir. Palantir is an international conglomerate owned by Peter Thiel. It has a lot of contracts with the United States military and the Israeli military, and it does a lot of surveillance. And surveillance not just on military targets and military personnel, but on individuals, on citizens of the United States, citizens of Israel, and citizens of a lot of Israeli territories and countries and its neighbors. It is instrumental in a lot of their tracking systems for a lot of Israel's attacks that have been on Gaza, as well as Lebanon and a lot of its other neighbors. It is very, very widely used in the United States military as well. So, and it relies very heavily on AI, which we know is not exactly reliable. Again, without getting into a political discussion, because this isn't a political channel, but I am open and honest about everything. That's what my diary is all about. I know that there has been a conversation, or there has been an implementation of a probationary program with the NHS between Palantir and it's out for renewal, which is what the debate is about. I really do think that it's not a good idea. A lot of surveillance of United States citizens has happened through Palantir programs. And I just don't trust it, in all fairness. And I'm not talking about trying to find terrorists or anything. I'm talking about tracking down teachers who say something against the government and things like that. So very severe surveillance of individuals, of everyday citizens, not just systems. Plus, healthcare is very personal. Healthcare is it's just something that is very private, and it should be protected. It shouldn't be open to any data system, especially a data system that works with a lot of government and military entities, in my opinion. I don't think that your data from their healthcare should be monitored by an AI bot. Maybe certain things could be, but I think there should be very, very strict measures in place. And I don't know that Palantir has that. And I don't know that the UK government has put anything like that in place either. We we're so open and susceptible to data anyway in this world that we live in. So I just feel like the privacy of our healthcare and our intimate details about our bodies and what we do with them and how we, how we live and all of that kind of stuff, that shouldn't be data that can be resold, and it shouldn't be data that can be used to track people or surveil people. I'm very much against that in general, but especially when it comes to using, sensitive data like healthcare to do it. The other thing that gives me reservations about it is Peter Thiel, the owner, is the top contributor to J.D. Vance's career, who is the vice president of the United States. He is a Manchurian candidate. He was basically created to be this politician that you see before you. And he is not somebody that I trust. I've talked about that on this channel as well. I consider him a greasy car salesman. So anything that J.D. Vance is involved in is something that immediately throws a red flag up for me. He is very opportunistic and he's very career driven. He does not care about everyday people. So for him to get into bed with a company like this so deep throws up red flags, in my opinion. It definitely makes me question the intentions behind it. I don't necessarily think the software that's being used by the NHS is intentionally nefarious, but I do think that it can be used that way if there is a bad actor or if there's not enough regulations and security measures put in place. I know that's part of the debate, obviously, but we have to be careful because the governments that are in place right now, especially in the UK, is not always reliable about being forthcoming to information to the public. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys had that extra context, because I can't vote. This is the only way that I can help. And I don't want, obviously for personal reasons, I don't want my personal data to be taken out. I mean, I have a child and I use the NHS as well, but I know you guys, most of the people that I have talked to that live here in England love the NHS and do not want to see it dismantled, do not want to see it compromised. And I feel like this might be a step towards the direction of dismantling it. And I don't want to see that happen either. This is the only outlet I have to help. So I'm going to link two articles. One is from Amnesty International. They do a lot of international stories about international rights, human rights abroad, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a very strong article that explains a lot of specific details about how Palantir is involved with the genocide in Palestine. Also, there is an article from The Guardian by Peter Reich, who is actually a very prominent writer and just a prominent figure in finance and stuff in the United States. And it connects the reasons that it's a threat for Americans. So I think that's an important one to read as well, because it does it reflects the possibility of what could happen if used in the UK at all. So I'm going to link them in the description box on the replay for you all. Definitely give them a read, and of course vote your own conscience. I'm not here to tell you, how to vote or what to do, but please make sure that you're voting with all the facts, because I know there's a lot of propaganda out there. There's a lot of stuff happening I thought UK news was better about how they propagandize and everything. But I'm learning, I'm learning in my 3 years that they're actually not, they're better than the US, but they're not great. So I try to get my facts, I always try to get 3 or 4 sources before I convey anything to anyone, even my own family. I want you guys to know that this is coming from a very kind place. This is not coming from, I'm not going to gain anything out of this. It's not for clickbait or anything like that. I genuinely want the NHS to thrive and do better. And I genuinely want you guys to be protected. So please be careful. Please read the articles if you get a chance, and please make sure that you're voting your conscience and not someone else's or for someone else's agenda. And I would just be very, very careful of anything that JD Vance is involved in. That's my tweets. I mean, for no other reason other than the fact that he volunteered to be Donald Trump's vice president. And he hasn't once spoken out about any decisions that Donald Trump has made in this term, after calling him Hitler previously. So that's why I don't trust him. So it's not coming from a dark place. It's not coming from a nefarious place. I'm just trying to be completely honest because I do care about the UK. I care about all of you. And I want everyone to be as okay as possible. If anything is in my power to help it, that's what I'm going to do. So that's why we don't hold back on this channel. Okay, that's my 2 cents. We're going to move on from that. Let's check in with you guys and actually have a conversation, since half the conversation was, I have no sound. Oof. Oof. Okay. Can't see any of the poppies, which is annoying. And I have no idea if you can use the emojis or not because I'm on a different system. I don't know. Maybe I can pull it up. I'm going to try to pull it up on my phone just because, to see if I can see any of that. Oh, I can see it on my phone. Okay. So it's just for some reason this software doesn't show it. Part of the reason why I wanted to do something else. Okay. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Richard asks, do you have problems with British spelling? I mean, I don't have problems with it. There's like random U's and like ERs are reversed and I don't know. I mean, it's strange for me, obviously, because I grew up with something different. I don't have a problem with it. It is what it is. You know, it happens. I know that there's history behind it because I know a lot of the British influence when the United States won its independence. There was an intentional. It was very intentional that they took steps to pull themselves as far away from British culture and British life that they could. So they did make changes, like some of those changes on purpose. So I expected it. I mean, I have a British partner, so he's been around for a couple decades. So I'm kind of used to it because we've had those discussions since we've met. I hope you get better, Piper. Thank you for joining us, even though you're not well. So, Richard, you're dyslexic, so does that mean you spell it the American way? I'm just playing. I made a dyslexic joke, so my apologies if it offends, but I was trying to be funny. I think we're cool. Stephen Kelly says, I know a dyslexic, agnostic insomniac. He stayed awake all night wondering if there was a dog. I don't follow that. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're saying, Stephen. Is it D. Callan? D. Callan, welcome. Thank you for being here. AI looking for trends in the data, but without using people's personal details would be acceptable, like if it's looking for cases of measles or TB, say. Yeah, that's the thing, Callan, is that I have no problem with AI. I use AI for my job and all this and lots of other stuff, but you have to be very, very careful, right? I don't put anything personal. I don't put any personal details in ChatGPT or whatever, right? I do very, very specific questions and ask for very specific answers, but lots of people do. Lots of people put personal things, put photos in and all that kind of stuff. So it's very it's scary because we've seen AI in the US there's no regulation really on AI in the US. And there's like systems that can show you what someone looks like naked, and they do it to minors and stuff. I know there was some cases of that happening here in the UK as well. You just have to be really careful. And healthcare is so personal and so private that it really it needs to be regulated properly. And I just my issue is I don't trust the owner of the company. So it's not the company necessarily, but if the owner isn't having good practices, then the fish rots from the head down. So you have to be, cognizant of that and make sure that you're just careful. I just don't want anyone's, personal details to be compromised, and I don't want anyone to get hurt from it. And the other thing about AI is it does look for trends, but it also makes predictions based on those trends, and also makes it can be easily used for tracking and surveillance. So that's my biggest issue. Personal details, obviously, and tracking and surveillance is not good. Richard said something may be up with Thiel. He has missed some important meetings. I don't know. I don't really care about the person personally, to be honest. Marcia says it seems that all data is sold. That's why they ask you so many questions. Absolutely, you're right. That's what I'm saying. Our data is all over the place as it is, and it is big money. Like I actually, some of the people that I watch for like coaching and information about how I can like grow my YouTube channel and stuff have actually said that what we should do as YouTubers, as content creators, is create content that is a funnel so we can collect data and then someday sell it. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sell people's data. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of money, but that's not, I'm not going to do that. No. And I think it's weird that you're recommending you do that. I collect emails so that I can send out a newsletter, link in the description, by the way, and let you guys know when there's blogs and stuff going on the website. But other than that, like I know statistics and stuff based on the data that watches the data that watches the channel, but that's it. I'm not going to sell all of that. I'm not going to do anything with it other than what I need to do through this. And YouTube pulls all that. Other than an email, whatever you give me is what you guys give me. That's one thing I'll never do, is I'll never sell people's data, and I will never, with my knowledge, compromise any of my viewers or audience's information or well-being. Absolutely not. No money in the world is worth that. Manny says, I definitely agree with you. No one's medical history and detail should ever be used with AI, especially when it results in very high surveillance of citizens and professionals. Yeah. I'm not saying you can't use robots and technology, because obviously that's ridiculous. It's been used in the medical field for almost over a century, right? So in one way or another. So it's just how we use it and making sure that the government has regulations on it. And here's the other thing is, if the government regulations, is the government getting anything out of that? Are they getting any data? Are they getting any details, right? Like you got to be really careful. It's a really fine line. And especially when you're under a government that's not forthcoming and not very honest with the public, it's scary. Vance does have the kiss of death about him. he is yeah. Yeah. He just reminds me of a used car salesman. That's all I can tell you. Like he's gonna sell you something that's gonna break down in 5 minutes, and he's got all kinds of clauses protecting himself but no one else. F11 says, worked in the NHS and still help with data reviews for hospitals in Kent. What I have seen contains no personal information, but looks at performance and continuous improvement. Proud NHS advocate here. Here. Thank you for that. Thank you for the information. And like I said, if it's being used for that and it's protected, then I have no problem. But we have, there's laws in the United States about healthcare being protected and you're, private between you and your doctor. However, and they're national laws, one of the very few national laws we have, but the data still gets out. So it's just, we got to be really careful. Manny says, I don't speak for anyone else. I really don't want to see it ruined in this way. Yes, the NHS isn't perfect, but it's our universal healthcare system and should never be sold off to Palantir or anybody else. I agree. Marcia says, illness is a serious thing because sometimes it can only get more serious. Yeah. And it's very private and personal. And who wants, I don't know about you guys, but even when I'm like just feeling shitty, like if I'm just have a cold or something, like I don't want other people's to be involved. I just want to take care of myself and be on and get done what I need to get done and then move on. I don't need 100 people knowing. I'm not one of those people that post all that stuff online and stuff. I tell you guys, but that's just because we have conversations throughout the week, right? But it's weird. Ewan Vanette says the UK is the only country in the world that has 2 different legal systems. Really? What other 2 legal systems? Do you mind elaborating on that for me? I appreciate it. Jamie Thomas, hello, how are you? Thank you for joining. Says, I'm not sure any Brit wants the NHS gone. I have gotten a few comments on some videos when I've talked about the NHS about people who've had some horrific experience where they've had to wait and they got misdiagnosed and things like that. And it has caused long-term complications. So they have a negative opinion of the NHS and only go private now. I've never had a negative issue with the NHS, nor is my child, nor is anybody that I've known personally in my private life. But I want to be a responsible YouTuber and recognize that no system is perfect, especially when it comes down to, a very serious issue. So I do want to acknowledge that. And, I appreciate that does happen. It just keep Vance away from your couch. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I hear anyway. That's the rumor. Pretty sure the NHS has pretty strong support. Definitely in this chat by far. Nicola says, I watched 2C TV. I don't know what that is, Nicola. I think if memory serves, bear with me if I'm confused, and I apologize if I'm confusing you with someone else, but I think you are in Europe. Is that right? Yes, Marja, we have to keep the greedy corporations away. We have to keep the greedy corporations away from everything. The world isn't falling apart because it's just falling apart. It is an intentional shift to corporatism, not communism, capitalism. There's nothing wrong. It's not that kind of thing. It's corporations, international companies taking over, and all they care about is profit. They will take over every industry in every aspect that they are allowed to. I'm sorry, but it's true. And they don't care about the workers or the citizens or anything like that. Unless it starts affecting their wallets, then they care. But other than that, they don't care. I've seen it happen a million times in America. A million times. They switch their views. One day, there's a big uprising, like when Black Lives Matter happened, everybody was in favor of the Black Lives Matter people and everything because they were calling for boycotts on all of the companies and the stores and everything. And then once that died down, then they all of a sudden, they didn't care about that anymore. They changed their stances. So it's just, gotta be really careful. JD Vance is the son of the Antichrist. Do you guys see? I don't know if you guys watch South Park, but if you don't watch South Park, at least watch the last season of South Park because it's all about Donald Trump, JD Vance, and a third party that I'll leave out there for a teaser. Manny says, look at Vance trying to influence the Hungarian election by going to see Orban last week. And then a few days later, Orban is defeated in a huge landslide to defeat Peter Mygar. I think that's how you Peter. I'm not sure how to say it with the accent on it. Yeah, good for. I agree with you, Manny. Well done, Hungary. They definitely need a change, and I think that's good because it shows I think that's a good representation of where the general public is, politically speaking. The problem is not all elections are fair and just. Oh, oh, Piper explained it. Oh, it was dog. It was supposed to be God. That's why I didn't get it. I'm American. I'm slow. He failed to get into peace talks with Iran. Well, America, honestly, no matter who they sent, it was gonna fail. But Trump should have been there himself. Vance shouldn't have been there. And his son-in-law, who's not even in the government, and some rando like corporate leader shouldn't freaking be in the negotiations. So the United States government's a joke right now. Jesus. I can become a British citizen and vote then. I could, but that's a couple years away, so I have to bide my time till then. Spell live and the devil backwards. It's evil and lived. Very good. Hello, Loopy. You are new here. We're really, really glad to have you, though. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking a chance on us. Feel free to ask any questions you're interested in. We're gonna chat. We're gonna do something fun a little bit later on. So it's not gonna be all heavy stuff like this. But I just felt the need to make sure that we covered that because it is important, in my opinion. Rory Cousins says Noah Webster altered the U.S. spellings to make it different from standard English, but by removing the U's and reversing the REs, in effect, he actually altered the French bits after the French. After the French had supported the American Revolution. Yeah, we kind of left them out for dead, didn't we? That was not good. Not good policy. I don't know what Washington was thinking on that subject. Stephen Kelly says AI terrifies me. I don't think you need to be terrified, Stephen. I think you don't need to be terrified of the technology. You need to be terrified of the government's not regulating it. It's just like any other technology. It needs to be regulated, regulated and taxed and just monitored. Not monitored from the point like where we're monitoring people, but just monitored that it's actually doing best practices and it's not harming society. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no guardrails in place for AI in the US right now. None whatsoever. It is rogue. So if you're using any American-based systems, be very careful. They ask you questions, you don't have to be truthful. That's true. Incogni is the best, and NordVPNs. Those are privacy protectors, right, Nicola? Good call. I'll put that up on the screen so everyone knows. Definitely good calls, yeah. Collective West, hello. Thank you for being here. Collective West says, I fear that in the near future, creators using AI a lot may flood YouTube with videos of little novelty or substance, and it will be harder to find good channels like yours. Oh, well, first of all, thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it. AI has already been flooded into YouTube, but YouTube actually is pulling a lot of, they actually are putting some guidelines and stuff in place because they don't actually, from what I understand anyway, they don't actually want that type of content. They want honest, like real content like that we do. So I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, actually. They want like real life. They don't just want AI reproduced slop. So, and I think the attention economy is moving that way as well. They're moving away from, because they don't want any fake. They want authenticity overall. So I think that I think it'll probably work itself out a bit, but only time will tell. We just have to be on our best game. Stephen Kelly says, I have bugger all money. Join the club. So if anyone wants to pay my bills, feel free to steal my data. They won't pay your bills. They won't steal your data to pay your bills, Stephen. They'll steal your data to pay their own or buy a fifth yacht. Marcia says, I think consciousness will always be a step ahead of AI because AI needs intelligence punched into it and information. Good point. But there's some studies that I've seen, that show that some of the technology that's AI based has actual cognitive abilities. So like it can learn and adapt based on the knowledge it has. So does have to be like pre-programmed, but once it's pre-programmed, it can kind of go off on its own. It can actually manipulate its own trajectories and stuff. That's the part that's scary. Hopefully that, will get worked out. Loopy says, I'm new here, been watching the videos. I can't believe how different the UK is to the US. I know, it's really strange, right? Like you think we're pretty close on paper. It looks like we're pretty close, but then once you start scratching the surface, there's a lot of differences that come up. I thought it would be a lot. I'm not having any trouble really acclimating or anything to the new culture, but there's a lot of things that I've been dealing with that I thought were something I wouldn't have to. So John Lilburn says, isn't Vance the one that killed the last pope? I think he did die shortly after Vance's visit, right? Yeah, that is funny. AI collates data, but usually can't differentiate between real and false. Well, that's the problem, isn't it, Roy? That's part of the problem. Collective says, in politics, sincerity is important. Once one learns to fake that, everything else is easier. Not just politics, that is very true in life, but you're right. Marja says, I just can't comprehend Trump. Here's my take on Trump. He is a 19-year-old rich kid who was never told no and doesn't understand that there's other people in the world. If you get that, you pretty much understand and be able to predict his behavior, to be honest. Scotland has its own legal system. Oh, okay. So maybe we should all move to Scotland. Disco says, no one I know has had a negative experience with the NHS. Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Piper says, I have health anxiety, so I don't really like talking about medical stuff, or I start worrying I got a fatal illness. There's so much online and can help think of what if I have it too. Yeah, it's hard. Nicholas says, you live in England. My bad. Sorry, I am confusing you with someone else. I apologize, Nicola, but thank you for the clarification. So the TV show that you were talking about, so that's an English-based? 2C is a YouTuber. Got it. Let me make a note of that. MyR2C? Is that the right channel? England and Scotland have different systems. Yeah. The NHS F11 says, the NHS has challenges which I have seen working in it and as a patient, but I love it as would not be here without the amazing staff that have saved my life multiple times. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much for your story, and I'm glad you're doing well. DJ SAFC says, hi from Sunderland. Hello, thank you for being here. Glad to have you. They killed Kenny. Yes. The last season of, South Park, I'm a fan of South Park. I think it's very, very smart and a very clever commentary, but definitely watch the last season about Trump and Vance. Cartman is my hero. All right. Oh, thanks so much for subbing, DJ. I appreciate that. I hope we get to talk again. I hope, in the future with videos and future chats. Richard uses Tor as a VPN. Good to note as well. Piper says, I think my negative experience with the NHS was when I was a child and I was told my headaches were stress. Only when I was 16, they finally did an MRI and my vision went black. Oh my God. And then felt a lot of pain. Turns out it wasn't stress. Oh, crap. Hold on one second. Sorry, I lost my place. It wasn't stress. It wasn't fatal or anything, but it is something I need to be aware of for the rest of my life. And do this, I find it hard to trust what doctors say. I knew it wasn't stress, but they didn't listen to me. Felt and feels like a hand around your brain squeezing, which is fun. Shan's it very British. Yeah, I can totally understand if you have that kind of experience, Piper. I had a similar experience with some doctors in the US actually when I was young, before in my 20s, before I met my husband. And I was I'm still very distrusting of doctors. I'm better here because it's a completely different system, but I hear what you're saying. All you need is one bad experience to taint everything, right? I don't think anyone would like the music that I mix. I don't know. You'd have to lay it on us at some point. Marja asked, did Kasparov beat Big Blue at chess? I think so. I have no idea. I didn't follow that story at all. Does anyone know? DJ asks, how have you found it with accents? Yeah, there's a lot more accents here in the UK than I thought there would be. So it has presented a bit of a challenge. I'm in Kent, so most of the accents around me I'm pretty good with. And the London accents, I'm pretty good with most of them because most of my friends and family are from that vicinity as well. But I have to admit, the accents the further west and north you go, I do struggle with, especially if they're talking fast. I do have a hard time. So I'm working on it. It's getting better. I have to be exposed to them a little bit more, and I think that'll help. Thanks so much for the super chat, Disco. Shout out. Appreciate it. Manny saying Kasparov did win. So Ahud Spith. That's an interesting handle. Thanks for being here. Bob Mortimer did an excellent promotional video on Sunderland, worth a watch. Oh, could you do you mind emailing me the link? I'd be more than happy. hicksondiaries@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to check it out. Okay. Let's there's one more question. Let me answer the question. F11 says, upbeat question, as you're in Kent, have you tried the Sunday roast at Limp Castle? It was epic. No, I will make a note of that though. Sunday roast at I know people have talked about Limpney. Is it Limpney Castle? Hello, TJ. How are you? Welcome back. We're so happy to have you back. How are you doing? We missed you. Steven, I'm not even gonna cheese a brick with the Glasgow accent. I think I did that Scottish. I don't want to, no offense, Loopy, but I don't want to say specifically where I am in Kent, just because, for privacy purposes, I have a family and everything, but southeast. All right, we are going to do a quick react. I have to set myself up again because, nope, wrong one. Wrong one. Stop. You missed all the fun, TJ. You missed all the fun. Here we go. About how I went on for like 20 minutes without sound because I'm so good at this. All right. This is This is Adam Thomas. I just came across his YouTube channel. He doesn't always do a lot about living abroad. He's lived throughout Europe, I believe, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, and he's traveled a lot. But I thought this would be an interesting video for us to watch. It's called How Living Abroad Rewires Your Brain. And I've done a few videos about this, and so I figured it was probably something that would fit well with our live stream today. Jamie Thomas says, I think most Brits can't handle the accents in the UK. Scouse, Newcastle, and Cornwall accent are particularly difficult. Well, my partner worked with a bunch of British people when he lived in America, so I'm actually somewhat familiar with the Newcastle and Scouse accents specifically because he worked with people from there. I think he was the only one from the South. And actually some people, so him and a couple other people in my private life do quiz me on accents every once in a while we're like out and about, and I do pretty good. They're surprised. So Herne Bay, I've just recently been to Herne Bay and I really liked it. It was good. I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, let's make sure the sound is on. Okay, so let's get into this video. It's not that long, but I just thought it would be interesting to watch. So let's see what he has to say.
Always feel really stupid just doing these kind of shots.
Everyone says living abroad is hard, and it is. The bureaucracy, the language gaps, the cultural misfires, ordering 4 cheese pizzas when you're meant to order 1 4-cheese pizza. You're far from family, and making friends as an adult is awkward.
The 4 cheese pizza thing? Totally done that. I've totally done that too. It's really funny. I love it.
I moved out at 18, not abroad, but as far from home as I could get. Newcastle upon Tyne was my first outpost, then came Germany, Ireland, the Netherlands, back to Germany, and in between I lived out of a suitcase in Prague, Dakar, Maputo, New York, Sydney, Montreux, Washington, La Paz, everywhere and nowhere. And after all that, here's what I've learned. There's something about living abroad that no one really tells you. You won't read it in travel blogs or visa forums. You only find out by doing it, by living through it, by feeling foreign.
That is an excellent intro and very, very true. You do feel like you are just, you don't belong. I think I mentioned this in the live I did on Sunday, that I just I don't feel like I belong anywhere, and I've lost a lot of family and friends, so I feel like I'm not American anymore. I don't know. Anyways, I love the intro though. Very, very well put.
So today I am in Maastricht. I used to call this place home. I've come back to visit a friend who is defending his thesis, which is exciting. It's always strange being back somewhere, isn't it? It's like, well, even though I know these streets really well and I lived here for 5 years, I basically feel foreign. And this isn't a new feeling for me. I've lived outside of the UK for almost 20 years. I have felt foreign, I guess, for most of my life at this point. But there's something really interesting about feeling foreign because, yeah, sure, you have this weird feeling of sadness and dislocation, but there's also a really, really surprising set of benefits that I don't think people talk about enough. So look, I spent most of my life feeling foreign, feeling like an outsider. It's part of my, I guess it's part of my character. It's just who I am. I've always been like this. I've always felt like an outsider, and I've always chosen the path, I guess, of most friction, and that's involved moving abroad quite a lot of the time. But all the stuff that I talked about earlier, that stuff starts to take its toll. It starts to grind you down after a while. So I keep asking myself the question, why do I do it? And
I think that's a good question. I feel like maybe some people are like pre-wired to, like as he put it, take a path of resistance, right? Like not be afraid of like outside the lane kind of life choices I think that is interesting. And that thought has often penetrated my brain even before this journey. Because I always seem to like want to find a better way or want to find another path and not just follow what everyone else is saying. At least in my adulthood anyway.
Turns out that, well, after 20 years, it basically has a bunch of really surprising benefits. Feeling foreign isn't just vibes, if I'm not too old to use that word. Sure, there's friction and there's difficulties, but there's some scientific things behind the sense of feeling foreign that enable you to go on and do things that you couldn't otherwise do. And I believe if you harness it in the right way, I think it's a kind of gift.
Psychologists say living abroad can trigger 3 deep shifts in how we think and feel. The first is self-concept clarity. Basically, how clearly and confidently you understand who you are. When you move abroad, that all gets shaken. Language, routines, cultural cues, they all fall away, and suddenly you're asking, who am I without all of that? You kind of lose your autopilot, but that loss forces you to get intentional. I had to decide consciously how to live, relate, and respond to the world around me. And over time, that made me more resilient. I think I made better decisions. I think I've built more authentic relationships, and I've definitely stopped chasing approval, says the guy with a YouTube channel who responds to every comment. But crucially, that clarity doesn't vanish. It's helped me in career shifts. It's helped me in parenting, in creativity. I think basically any time the ground moves, I have self-concept clarity to help me understand who I am. The second shift is...
That is so true. Like, he hit the nail on the head with that. And I've had a hard time articulating it, but in some of my videos, I've tried, but I don't know that I've hit the nail on the head like he has, but I haven't traveled nearly as much or lived abroad as nearly as much or long as he has. But he's right about the fact that your autopilot goes completely off, which I've talked to you guys about. Like, you have to ignore your instincts and think every single decision through from, looking which way when you're crossing the street. But you also, you kind of naturally develop this newfound confidence because you have to, right? Like, you can't go and live in a foreign country, especially, one that, like, I got lucky and speaks the same language, but somewhat. We'll talk about that another time. But, especially if you go into a country where there's a language barrier and stuff, you have to be willing to be very humbled and, make mistakes and be willing to believe that you can do it as well. You have to have that belief system or where you're going to fail and go back home. There's nothing wrong with that, but in order to succeed and be able to do this for a long period of time, as long as he has, you definitely have to build up that confidence. And I do think that I know my confidence has built a lot over the last few years during this journey. So I totally feel what he's saying.
Called cultural frame switching, which is basically changing how you think and behave depending on the cultural context. And you see it a lot in bilingual people, for instance. And I felt it a bit. I'm more direct in German, say. I'm more reserved in Dutch, and I'm annoyingly polite in English. Different parts.
First of all, he said annoyingly polite. Just want to point that out. He is absolutely right. And I don't think that this is even somebody that's just living abroad, because I know even when I was in the United States, I would be I wouldn't be a different person, but I would just have a different way of handling people and conversing with people and dealing with people in the office setting, at work, than I did with, like my daughter's friends' parents, than I did with my own family, than I did with my partner. So I think we always have that kind of programmed in our brain anyway, because different occasions require different perspectives. I don't know if that's a normal thing. It's always been normal for me, but you guys tell me, is that something you guys experience as well? Or is it just me, me and this guy, me and Adam? I've always felt it is normal, but maybe just because I know that it's normal doesn't mean it is.
Parts of me show up depending on where I am. It's demanding, but it's kind of powerful in a way. It's a bit of a superpower. You get better at reading the room and seeing things from different angles. And at times, it makes you feel in between. You're sort of fluent everywhere, but at home, nowhere. but it also makes you adaptive and flexible. And if you use it consciously, it is a strength. The third concept is somewhat harder to.
I like the way you put that, because using it consciously, so it could either like lift you up or tear you down, right? So if you use it consciously, then it can lift it up, you up, and it can be like a superpower or a strength. But if you aren't self-aware enough and you don't acknowledge it and take it, for what it is, then it can definitely drag you down and make you miserable.
Pin down. It's called emotional and existential displacement. And it's the feeling that you no longer fully belong anywhere, not to a place or even to your past self. I felt homesick, for instance, for versions of me that I've outgrown. I'm kind of caught between identities, not sure where I fit. But over time, I've realized that in between space is where something new can form.
That I have to stop it there just for a second. I know it's not the new section yet, but that is definitely where I am right now. I'm having that very like existential crisis internally, where I'm trying to kind of like rediscover myself and figure myself out, because I've changed more than I thought I would living here. But I don't feel British, and I don't feel like this is my home still yet, other than my immediate like homestead. And I've I've had to lose so much of the United States, as some of you guys know. So I think that is exactly where I am right now. So that totally hit home. That's so crazy. Like it's almost like he was reading my heart.
A third identity, if you will, like built but not inherited. It's uncomfortable, but it's honest. You're no longer living someone else's story. You're writing your own. Living abroad doesn't just move you, it rewires you. Feeling foreign upgrades your decision-making, your way of seeing the world, and your sense of self. The friction isn't a flaw, it's the forge. So if you're thinking of moving abroad, sure, expect the logistics to be annoying, but also expect to grow in ways that are hard to explain and impossible to reverse. If you're already abroad and you're feeling off kilter or disoriented or out of place, good. That's not failure, that's transformation. And if living abroad isn't an option for you, well, put yourself in a situation where you don't quite fit on purpose. Visit a neighborhood you've never been to, speak a language you're still learning, take a trip that makes you feel out of place, and then pay attention to how you adapt. You don't need to cross a border to feel foreign. You just need to do one thing today that unsettles you just a bit.
Interesting. I liked that a lot. He was very, 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 very psychological and intellectual. I like that kind of. That's probably why I like his videos. Very, very informative. And honestly, I completely, I'm on board with almost everything that he said. I don't think there was anything he said that I wasn't. That was definitely spot on, in my opinion. That's exactly what I'm going through right now. I'm having that crisis. I'm trying to figure myself out, caught between the two worlds, if you will, and trying to live my life. It's really strange too, because in America, even though I had always had the inkling of like stepping outside of the line, I never had the freedom to really. Like I took some steps here and there, but I never had I just never had the opportunity to do it fully, to like fully step out and find my own path and really discover myself and everything. And this journey, after losing almost everybody in my life and having to just completely start over and be pretty much on my own, that automatically pushes you to discover yourself, right? Like he was saying, you don't have a choice. You're kind of forced to. Anyway, I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. TJ says, I'll have to move abroad because my brain needs rewiring. I don't know if you could do it at this point, TJ. It might be a lost cause. Only Europe. Try Africa and Asia. Yeah, it's a lot. I always had respect for people that spoke different languages, but I definitely have a bigger respect for it now. for people who actually go and live and learn different languages. It is hard. It is hard to be in a new place regardless, but definitely if you don't speak the language and you have to read it and you have to assimilate your family with it, it's hard. Stephen Kelly says, I'd done a gig years ago in Bromley. Well, I didn't. I should have been in Bromsgrove. I overshot the runway. Jamie Thomas says, what's the problem with 4 cheese pizzas? See, like 4 cheese pizza in America is 4 different kinds of cheeses on the pizza. It's like that here too, right? Instead of 4 plain cheese pizzas. I suppose it depends on how big they are. Some of the pizzas are tiny. Like here, you guys have like your personal pizzas. They're like that big. They're like as big as a scone. I'm like, again, I'm used to like pizzas this like a large being like this big in America. So that's probably why. Loopy says, I love driving around the Kent coast, stopping at Margate, Ramsgate, and Dover. Yeah, we drive up and down the coast a lot, too. It is very nice. I do like it. I'm a beach person, too. Pink Floyd, what? I saw your Dark Side of the Moon comments, guys. Rochester Castle is a good place to visit, Loopy says. Yes, I've been to Rochester. I've been inside Rochester Castle, yes. I haven't been inside the cathedral. But it is lovely. I like Rochester a lot. It's a lot of stuff to do there. Stephen Kelly says, I travel the world with my job, but never had a holiday abroad. I'm weird. You probably always wanted to be home when you could, right? Hi, Mick MacArthur. Thanks for being here. Glad you can make it. I was working on my lip reading whilst you were in silent mode. You just wanted me to say whilst. Oh, there's always one every Tuesday. Japan is interesting. I want to go to Japan. I'd definitely struggle with the language though, but I don't want to go everywhere. So TJ says I'm annoying, not polite. Tomato, tomato. Are you asking me about Blackpool, Manny? Because I wasn't supposed to go to Blackpool. Mick did. Mick went to Blackpool. My bad. I thought it was all about me because, it's my show. I'm just playing. It's just being very arrogant. Jamie Thomas says, I can relate to him. I've grown up in a lot of other countries, often ones that don't speak English. I can't speak any other languages, but I found that there is a universal language. Is there? Is it money? Or love? Money or love? A lot of places speak English, or a form of English because of the British Empire and stuff. That's what I have found, but I haven't done a ton of traveling. I mean, and mostly Europe. So I have a very, very small pool to pull from. I do not speak for everybody, that's for sure. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be. Why do you say that, Collective? Nostalgia is what it is. It's different for everybody, in my opinion, but I'm curious what you mean by that comment. Richard said, Japan made me feel pre-literate and I stood out. Okay. Open air cinema? The hell is open air cinema? Is that like where they just put the screen up and you sit there and watch a movie? Is that what you're talking about? Like you used to have drive-ins where you drive up. Did they have drive-ins here in the UK? It's a very American thing, I think. You guys tell me. I used to go to drive-ins when I was a kid. It's kind of cool. They had one park when we lived in Pennsylvania when my daughter was little, did like a drive-in as a drive-in movie as like a special like event. And we took her and we went to the drive-in. My partner had never done it before. He was kind of chuffed. He enjoyed himself a lot. Marja said traveling would be so great if it wasn't to become really expensive and you need too many ties. It is expensive. It is expensive. Although it's less expensive. I mean, I'm speaking from a few years ago. Obviously, now everything's expensive. But it's less expensive than America, but that's because everything in America is expensive as hell. Jay Pescarada says JTP. I'll call you JTP. Hey, everybody. Welcome. By the way, thank you for being here. Traveled around the world, some over the years, and looking forward to making a new life in retirement in a new place in the next year or two, UK bound. Oh, awesome. Do you know where in UK you want to settle yet? JTP also goes on to say, appreciate you sharing your life with us. Oh, I'm happy to. It's nice that some people actually care. Thank you for that. Richard says, I've always been the cat that walks alone. Yeah, kind of pretty much like that too. I go in and out of circles often. Steven says, I speak 5 languages and I can swear in 4 of them. Is that why you think you can speak 5 languages? Because you can swear in them? I'm just kidding. Piper says, love traveling. I think everyone should do it at least once. I agree. I think traveling is a form of education that you can't get in any other way. Disco says, nearly moved to Malta. Where is Malta? Malta is that in the Middle East? Is that right? I'm not, it's probably not. It's off of Spain. It's in Europe. Where's the map? Zoom out, please. I don't know where Malta is. Oh, off Italy. Oh, sort of. I mean, it's not in the Middle East, but it's near the Mediterranean. I was thinking in that vicinity. Okay. Why did you not move to Malta? What held you back? Curious. Never been there. Is it worth going? TJ says, my face is a universal language. Everyone knows what I'm thinking. I kind of have the same situation. You know that, TJ. It's very hard for me to hide things. F11 says, I have worked abroad a lot, including the US, had to learn other languages, but much prefer work-life balance in the UK. Than the US, by far. If you worked in the US, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. Disco says, we do occasionally have open-air cinemas when it's not raining. Oh, so like the once or twice a year it doesn't rain, and it's warm enough to do it. Mick says, I struggle with English, but fluent in nonsense and rubbish. I think a lot of British people are like that. Steven says, French, German, Russian, Welsh, and Gaelic. I've been told I pronounced it wrong, so I might be saying that wrong. That's cool. Disco says, I knew a little Italian. He was 4 foot tall. Malta's in Southern Europe. Yeah, Mediterranean. Luxembourg looks beautiful, but never been yet. Yeah, I've heard that Luxembourg is like an underrated country to visit in Europe. Kay Jordy, I think, which we've reacted to a couple of his videos. It's another American that lives here in the UK. And his YouTube channel is really, really good. He does a lot of traveling and stuff. I recommend it if you guys want to go check it out. I think he did a video saying that Luxembourg was gorgeous. So I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, though. So I'm just going to take his word for it, though, because I haven't caught him in a lie yet. So Malta has the same electrical system as the UK and drive on the left, but it's bloody expensive. Is it? It's an island, so I'd imagine any islands would be expensive, I would imagine, as the UK. Jamie said, it's when I grew up in Tanzania, there was English, sort of. Manchester United. The kid's favorite word was shilling. The police were fluent in tax. My partner would be happy. He's a Manchester United fan. All right, you guys, that is going to do it for me. I know this is only an hour and 10 minutes, but it's because I wasted 20 minutes trying to figure out my sound. And my voice is starting to go, so I have to take my leave of y'all now. Really quick, just before we go on, if you're interested in conversations and reactions like this, definitely check out the Mandyverse Collective. It's our membership program. Click the join button, or there's a link in the description. We'd love to have you. Also, I just want to do a quick shout out to let you guys know that I didn't write it down, so I'm doing this off the cuff, as you can tell. Oh, we are going to start doing random lives and videos, car videos. As we travel, we're going to start traveling a little bit more and stuff. So we're going to do some more walk and talks on location. We're going to do some lives on location. We're going to do some car videos in the car, just as we're driving, so you can see some scenery and stuff. Let me know make sure you give me feedback. Make sure you leave comments and likes or dislikes so I know if the content is worth doing or not, because I don't want to waste your time. And obviously, it's not, I don't want to waste my time either. But if it's not doing anything for you guys, then we'll figure something else out. New video is dropping Thursday, and a Behind the Diaries video is also dropping this week. And yeah, I'll check you all out next time. We are here every night, Tuesday, 8 p.m. UK time. So definitely come back and visit us again. Until then, though, stay safe, take care, and much, much love. I'll see you all next week. Bye.